of monsters? Was it the same mentality to take it to the last day?
Yeah, it always is. You know, the guys are incredible. The guys who maybe haven't played as much, but you should see them train every single day. It's incredible the level they put in, and you can see it when they need to step up. They have, and it's a special group of players and a special football club. You know, we can fight to the end, keep going. You know, all we can do is take it as far as we can.
What does that performance say about the squad?
Says a lot. I think, like I said before, it shows how ready everyone is. It shows how ready they are mentally, even when they're probably not playing as many minutes as they would like. The intensity and desire in training every day to be able to come and play the way we play is special, and you know, that starts right from the top with the manager and the attitudes of the players.
And the fact that you had to dig deep after going behind.
Yeah, 100%. You know, I think Ali would probably say it flicked off me, I think, and you know, it was a bit unlucky, but you know, backs against the wall then, and you know, it's easy to make excuses. Obviously, the emotion of the weekend, how much we put into the weekend, and then having to come here so soon after, going one down. But you know, there's no excuses with these guys. They just keep pushing it and keep going, and it was great to get in front and then, you know, try to sit out and keep the ball as much as we can and conserve that energy.
How did you enjoy the switch from midfield to right back?
It's not my favourite switch in the world, to be honest, but you know, what's needed. Joey, you know, got a naughty one on his ankle and couldn't continue, so you know, it was unfortunate. I was enjoying it in the middle, and Joey's been fantastic when he's played this season as well, so hopefully he's okay. But yeah, what the team needs, and you know, I think like it was a great team performance again, everyone who was involved.
What's your thoughts on the final day?
Try and win our game. That's all we can do. Try and win our game, and that's what all we've been trying to do since, you know, we sort of had a reset in January when we were so far behind, and we went for it again and had a mental reset, if you like, and this season I think we've done ourselves proud, but you know, you're coming up against a top team like Man City, so all we can do is try and win our games, and we've tried to keep the pressure on them right to the end.
Quite simply, while there's a chance, there's hope.
That's all we can do. All we could do is take it to the last game. We've done that, and like I say, it wasn't going to be easy after the weekend coming here and their last home game of the season. Obviously, they're going to want to finish on a win, so it was pleasing to come here, get this result, take it to the last game, and you know, hopefully we can have 2 more big performances this season.
Great stuff. Well played yourself.
Thank you. Cheers.
He was the captain at the start. He was in midfield with Harvey Elliott when James Milner made his Premier League debut. Harvey Elliott wasn't even born, and then he had to go, as he said, to right back. You touched on him beforehand. We spoke about Jordan Henderson's influence, but how big on the pitch tonight and in general is his experience and influence? Yeah,
I spoke about him before, but he was in the sort of warm-up before the lads even went out to play tonight, and he was geeing the guys up, and I think his interview sort of hit the nail on the head when he said about the resilience, you know, going a goal down after the weekend, 120 minutes in the FA Cup final. The emotions of that, you've got to enjoy that occasion as well. So the emotions, everyone's up and up. But the next day's a recovery day, a couple of days before a massive game against Southampton. And the big question for us tonight was 9 changes. It was a big ask for, as James says, a lot of players who haven't played this season. But that shows the credit that the staff behind the scenes, I think, are working with these players, because sometimes they're the hardest players they work with. Not the 11 that starts every week, but the players that aren't starting, to get a shift out of them week in, and a big game like tonight to get the 3 points, it's job done.
Yeah.
I think what's really interesting, and why you have to praise Liverpool so much as well, is, and James Milner touched on it there, there's lots of excuses you could have created for tonight, and we're all human. We all like the easy way if we can have it, and when you go 1-0 down and you've got all those excuses, the 120 minutes only a few days ago, they're going away, it's probably the furthest game that you can play away from home, all the changes. There's so many excuses that you could actually, but they just don't do that. This team are so mentally strong, no hiding place. They don't shirk a challenge at all, and I think that is where they're different to a lot of other teams. You know, I've played in lots of teams where the mentality is just every day in training. No one wants to lose a 5-a-side, and you go to some places and it's all right to lose. It's okay. There's no hiding place here. Every day in training, every game, you've just got to put it in.
Where does that come from?
Within the group, I think the culture of a club. And again, we've mentioned it and we'll mention it again because it is so important in football. Leadership, not just from the top, but within a dressing room, is absolutely everything. Just look at the great teams over the years. OK, there's a team that could win a league here and could win, but look at the great teams that have won multiple and dominated for periods. Look at the leaders, and I'm thinking Manchester United with the likes of Ince and Keane and, you know, Bruce and Pallet, all those Mark Hughes. I mean, Chelsea, you know, that team of Essien and Drogba and Terry and Lampard, real leaders. This team, Liverpool now, loads and loads of leaders, and there's leaders all over. Arsenal, wow, you know, you're looking at Adams and Vieira and all those great players. It's a common theme. You need leadership in the dressing room.
Interesting. And in terms of leaders tonight, the likes of Salah and Mane lead. Van Dijk obviously does for beat. None of them were there, and they had to come from behind. And Joel Matip has scored for successive games. In fact, he's got his best equal scoring season now. Little bit of fortune about this one?
I don't think he knew much about it, Steve. I really don't. I mean, it's a poor header at the near post for starters. And don't get me wrong, he's brave, he's putting his head in there. But I think this just takes a little glancing flick off Walker-Peters just before it hits him. And look, I mean, even he's surprised when the ball goes in. Just think it takes a little nick there, Shay, and bounces into his head. And you can tell by the spin on the ball as well.
Yeah, the near post guy's got to do better. He's got to head it up and away. But you just see it here, the last second, we sort of magnified it. He's unlucky, Walker-Peters, if I'm being honest. There's a bit of luck attached to it, but it's looped into the top corner as well, Steve. He won't be complaining about that. It's a massive goal for Liverpool in their season. And again, we talk about going to the last game of the season. That's the reason why, because of that header. But as you say, his best goal scorer in the season. He's improving as a player, getting better and getting important goals as well. OK, let's go back to the man who watched it all from a very good point. John Barnes at St Mary's. What did you make of all that from your former club tonight, John?
Well, I expected that performance. Of course, you can never legislate for a victory. But I felt, regardless of the changes, and Michael made the point about leadership, and of course it comes from the top with Jurgen, and he instills that determination, that drive in all of the players. So as much as they made changes, from the start to the end, they were the better team. They went one down, but they didn't capitulate. They still went forward, created chances. They have a clearly defined way of playing, and they were thoroughly deserved their victory. So it was a performance I expected, and you're looking at the last goal there, and they've been fortunate with that, but they really deserved that victory.
And we've talked about the character and the mentality. Even with all the changes tonight, when they do go a goal down, do you watch the game inside the stadium and you're not concerned? You expect the Liverpool reaction, whoever's playing?
Well, we expect the reaction, and once again, you can't legislate for whether they're going to score or not, but we know they won't panic. They'll still create chances. They'll play with determination, intensity. They went a goal behind against Tottenham. They came back, and every time they've done it, even when they don't necessarily play well, they have a way of getting the job done. And today, and Michael said there are no excuses, and there aren't any excuses. Others may make excuses that, okay, he's made 9 changes, so that's an excuse. But he doesn't make excuses. The players don't make excuses. So, as I said, I can't speak highly enough of them, because it's a difficult place to come and play. And you could forgive them with the games coming up for not winning tonight. But as I said, Jurgen Klopp doesn't make excuses, and those players don't.
I just want to touch on the leadership point that Michael was making there. He's saying all great teams have them in abundance. You had the armband. You had big characters in your dressing room as well. How crucial is that in a situation like we've seen for Liverpool tonight?
Of course it's absolutely crucial, but it comes from the top, from the manager. Those teams Michael mentioned, Alex Ferguson was the manager. Yes, you got the players there. Then you got Arsene Wenger. You know, you got Jurgen here, Chelsea. You had Jose Mourinho. So as much as you have the leaders in the dressing room, because if you look at as today, for example, until Jordan Henderson came on, you know, there's no Van Dijk, there's no Salah, there's no Mane, there's no Jordan Henderson. So we say, where do the leaders come from? It starts at the top with the manager, and then he instills this in all of the players. So regardless of whether Jordan Henderson plays or not, there are leaders out there because the manager instills that determination in them.
And what's that feeling like when you look around a dressing room, and you've had it, as I say, with top players, and you see those kind of characters and you think, yeah, I'm going to be okay because these guys are with me today?
Well, once again, you can look at the best 11 and you can say, of course, the leaders throughout that. But once again, here you made 9 changes. So when you're looking around the dressing room and you're looking at Curtis Jones and Harvey Elliott and Tsimikas, and you're thinking, well, who is going to lead us? But they have that within the group. So even they don't have the individuals on the team, they have that mentality within the group that we're all leaders. We all perform out there. So we're all in it together. You know, Jordan then came on and, yes, of course, he is a leader. But even without him, until he came on, they were still the better team.
John, and obviously a lot of players played tonight, probably won't see another game this season now. A lot of the big hitters will come back and play the last 2 games, but it really has been a great squad performance as well. Regardless of Liverpool win the league, this squad probably the best squad that Liverpool have had for some time.
Oh, absolutely, because of course, I mentioned in 1984, I think, when they played about 14 players and they won the league. If players lost form or got injured, they didn't have anyone else to come in. But you look at can make 9 changes, and yes, obviously if the top 11 play, they may play slightly better, but they didn't underperform at all. They've still got players who can come on and are worth their place in the team. So this squad obviously is the best, but this is the way modern football is. You have squads of 20. Man City are the same. Obviously in the old days they didn't have those squads, but it's a joy to watch. And also, I don't think any other team, including Man City, can make that many changes and still perform, whereas we can.
And how important was it just to do their job and ask City the question on Sunday and take it to the final day?
Well, of course, as James Milner says, all you can do is take care of what you're in control of. And they're in control of, there's no point talking about Sunday if they didn't win tonight. There's no point talking about Sunday if they don't beat Wolves. So as much as we're going to talk about Man City slipping up, what they're concentrating on is they're getting the job done. And if City slip up, they slip up. If they don't slip up, there's nothing Liverpool can do about that.
No, but we know you're a romantic. Come on, Steven Gerrard at the Etihad. It could be written in the stars.
Unfortunately, they've got to play against Man City, and unfortunately, Steven's not playing. So, of course, it could be written in the stars, but I don't think that we're going to just rely on that to then say that it's definitely going to happen. Of course, we all hope it's going to happen, but of course, Man City still are firm favourites.
He lost a bit of romance from when you used
Gone.
to
The romance is gone, John. The romance is gone.
Oh, he's still a romantic. Yeah.
You've got to
Definitely.
be practical.
I see him most days on the school run. He's don't worry, he's not lost it.
I've always been practical. And of course, yes, we talk about Steven Gerrard, but then if we don't beat Wolves, what's the point in Steven Gerrard doing us a favour? So we've got to concentrate on just doing our job.
Brilliant, John. Thanks very much indeed for your company. Let's have a look at the first half goals and how Liverpool had to come from behind, and they weren't happy, as you pointed out, at half-time in the build-up to Southampton's goal.
No, they weren't, and I think they've got every right to be a little bit disappointed because I thought that was a foul. And Southampton, break well. I think it's only about 14 and a half seconds by the time that foul, or that potential foul, was committed to the ball being in the back of Alisson's net. Little bit of fortune with a little deflection, but it was a great strike from Redmond. But we see and we look at it here, Shay, I can't see any. The defender doesn't get any of the ball.
I think Dermot's left the building now. Are we okay to say we won about Dermot? No, for me, it's a foul all day long, and I don't understand why that VAR can't say, just have a quick look, Dermot. It's such an important goal. Imagine Liverpool lose 1-0. The title's over tonight on the back of a decision I think should have been turned the other way. For me, it's a clear foul. He gets a bit of lucky on the strike, Steve, but top corner, Alisson, no chance.
But again, Liverpool didn't feel sorry for themselves about that decision.
No, it would be easy.
They conceded the goal.
At that point, it would have been easy. As you said, massive game at the weekend, FA Cup final, just won it. And I mean, the emotions I think emotions can be good and bad, but you have to get yourself levelled off. They travelled to Southampton tonight, and again, going 1-0 down, 9 changes. They stuck together, and you both said, John and Michael, saying about no panic, just kept passing the ball, kept creating chances, and got the job done.
And Minamino, who hadn't started a league game all season for Liverpool, in fact, the last time he started in the Premier League was for Southampton, scored against the club where he had a loan spell.
Yeah, and it was a lovely finish as well, Steve. I thought Southampton could have done better on a couple of occasions there defensively, but there's no question about the strike. He hit it really well, and he had to go for power. I mean, we couple them up here, Shay, and from a defensive point of view, there's a lot to be desired.
Yeah, we spoke about Redmond's finish, all around how good he is going forward, but defensively you'd worry about him, and he's just took his eye off his man for a split second, and again, take nothing away from the finish. As I say, I think it just sat up nicely just at the end here. So he takes an extra touch, as Michael mentioned at half-time. But again, just at the depth there, Steve, it just jumps up off the ground, and then he can hit it really strong, and it's a fantastic finish.
Yeah,
and that was crucial at the time, not to go in at half-time trailing.
Oh, yeah, I mean, definitely. Different team to whatsoever, different mentality. But Liverpool were dominant at that stage. The sort of second half of the first half, Liverpool were really in control. In fact, they controlled most of the game, and you're always going to feel a little bit of pressure in the last few minutes when Southampton throw caution to the wind. But in general, I thought Liverpool controlled most of the game and were well worth the 2-1 win.
Yeah, and the fact that Henderson had to come on helped that control.
Yeah, we talked about him before the game, didn't his leadership, and there was control when he came on. He just came on, and just obviously Milner set in the right back, and you could see he was just organising, pulling people apart, talking to people, some of the younger players like Elliott and Jones in front of him, maybe they push on, be a bit more offensive, and it gives you that calmness. People talk about him being a great leader, a great talker, great in the changing room, but he has to be great on the pitch as well. And again, he brought that tonight, nice calmness, no panic, and got the job done second half.
Job done for Liverpool. They go to the final day of the season. They're going to ask Manchester City.
You made 9 changes, that performance and that result tonight.
Unbelievable. 1-0 down makes it even more special. Yeah, outstanding. What can I say about this group? and maybe not did already say, but it's to be 100% it's a bit overwhelming. It's really touching what the boys did, because we have play on the pitch. I told him now in after the game in a little analyze what I did to a few of them and had to do because of the situation. Is pretty much a crime that Takumi Minamino doesn't play more often, that Oxley, who is in outstanding shape, is not part of the squad very often. Harvey didn't play for a long time, Curtis didn't play for a long time, and all these boys deliver and deliver and deliver, and it's unbelievable. Making 9 changes and then this kind of performance is absolutely exceptional, I have to say. So I'm 100% sure it's now. That's of course we'll never know that for sure, but we would have had here much more problems today if we would have played the guys who played 120 minutes on Saturday. So really happy. We keep going.
What does that tell you? Does it tell you anything you didn't know about this special group of players already tonight? Because I was watching on the touchline, you were just applauding virtually throughout the game. You were loving it, weren't you?
Oh, honestly, I loved it. There were so many good things. So even Joey, yes, is pain, but we all think it probably is all right. So that would obviously a massive shadow, but he's fine. He probably knows already himself already now. We were lucky today. Absolutely. You look, I ask for a lot, and to be honest, sometimes I'm not sure if that's still okay. And what the boys did, I saw them enjoying the game. I saw them really playing football against a side who was obviously ready to go for us, to press us, and they couldn't because we played in all the spaces. They had the good spell, if you say, want in the second half, and we made the changes and we had to change back, and then we didn't play enough football anymore. But that's it pretty much. We conceded a goal out of nothing. I didn't see it back, but for me it looked definitely like a foul. But Martin Atkinson had the same situation for us already. Manchester United a while ago when Rashford scored a goal, made exactly the same, and afterwards, oh yes, we could have whistled that. But who cares? So we made it only more special. And no, I'm really proud again of the boys. It's so big. This second part of the season, obviously since January, we drew 3 times. Tottenham and Chelsea, that was when we had our corona outbreak. We played different teams, especially against Tottenham and against Chelsea. I was not even there, and all these kind of things. What the boys did is absolutely exceptional.
I mean, there's a whole host of things that has brought this fantastic run, but you've been called the mentality monsters. Do you think that word, if you had to choose one, is the one it's the mentality about this group?
Oh, definitely. It's an example. I never had a group like this. It's an example for how look, if I make a lineup, if you're not involved, sit on a bench or whatever. And I was angry when I was a player. I didn't like it. I was footballer to play football. But of course, because we win most of the times, there are not a lot of things you can really argue about. And but there are two opportunities how you can deal with it. You give up, or you just play your role in the group. And this group pushes each other constantly. Somebody's down, come on, we lift him. Come on, stay away, stay in the next time. And we could give a lot of games, obviously, but not enough for the quality they have, I have to say. That's the problem. But in the end, it's absolutely outstanding. And again, tonight is really special. So because we came here, we had to do what we did, and it worked out because of the boys. If it wouldn't have worked out, 100% my responsibility. Now it worked out. The boys should be really proud of that.
No matter what happens on Sunday, huge pride on your part about this group of players for taking this title race all the way to the last day.
Absolutely, we all know so many things when it's that close. So many things happen during the season. We never gave up. That's how it is. We all know different ref decisions. We could now think about it. That doesn't make sense at all, but they were there. Then, how I said, that the games with Tottenham and Chelsea, I don't think we have to win there. It's away games at Tottenham, away game at Chelsea. But if you think back at the Tottenham game, if you watch it back for once, this game was really, really strange. So, but that's it. And here we are. How we said, we will not give up, and we will give it a try. It will be difficult enough against Wolves, obviously, but we still will give it a try, and it's our home game. It's our last Premier League game of the season. Atmosphere will be outstanding, and we will try to use it.
Football has a habit of throwing things up. It could be the most extraordinary end to the season and wonderful season in your favour. It could happen.
No, of course it could happen, but the only chance that we had tonight was to win, and then we know that. So we have to do our job, and then football is a tricky game sometimes. Yeah, but how is that? Aston Villa plays tomorrow night, and then they play on Sunday again. So it's a tough week for them as well. I think they play Burnley, right?
Thursday.
So Thursday and Sunday. This Thursday, which I want to have. Okay, but now it's all good, and. Yeah, we will see, of course, but you have to focus on yourself, and then we will see what happens.
Well done tonight.
Thank you very much.
Oh, some fascinating insight there from Jurgen Klopp. Clearly delighted, clearly relaxed as well, particularly on the rotation and players not getting enough minutes. And we go back to 2001. I know we have a joke with you sometimes, and occasionally you were on the bench and you didn't like it, but it is a master, isn't it, to try and get players, minutes, keep the group all heading in the right direction.
Yeah, and it's funny because when I'm listening to him there, I'm thinking everybody complains about how many games that they play. Yet there, Jurgen Klopp saying, I can't give these players enough games. So you almost need to play lots and lots of games to keep lots and lots of players happy. But then again, every time a game comes around, you want to win it so much that you think the best chance we've got is playing the likes of Mo Salah and Van Dijk and all these players. So it's very hard to rotate. But today he's really shown what trust. And look at the size of the game today. And he's gone and made 9 changes from a really important game a few days ago. That just shows that it's not just words. You know, he always talks about the squad and how good they are, but he's actually gone and trusted them today in one of the biggest games of them all, and they've come up trumps. So it's a real feather in the cap for Liverpool as a squad, and I think he made a good point regarding the players that don't often play, to keep your standards high, to keep your head up. The amount of little punches that you get in the nose just every time, sickening on the bench. You're not starting. You're not even in the squad this time. You're not starting. How many times? 50-odd times this year? Oh, and how you can keep getting back off the canvas and then come and put in performances like that is quite amazing. And it just shows you the group and the mentality of the group.
And the person, could you have done that? Good question, Steve.
I think if you're within...
Take me 3 hours, Shane. Stay with me.
I think if you're within a group that are all pulling in the right direction, it sweeps you along as well, and you can't be the one person that has got a bad attitude, can you? So I think it's very, very difficult. If I was constantly, every big game, getting up for it, preparing right, going to bed the right time, eating the right food, doing all these things, you're not playing. Like, okay, I can get over it once or twice, but if it keeps happening, it's a struggle. It really is. And full
then
credit
from nowhere, the manager says, well, Southampton away,
yeah,
you've got to go and start.
And now I need you. And by the way, when you're playing, I'm going to be playing another 8 or 9 people that don't normally play as well. It's like, wow, I could fit into the team that plays every week. I can play alongside, all these great players. But now you're asking me to play as well when everybody else is cold, that no one else has played for a long time as well. Then it's even more difficult. So, full credit to them. I mean, full credit. Don't get me wrong. They didn't blow Southampton away. They didn't win 5-0. No, but to win in the Premier League away from home like that with all those changes, it's just a credit to their mentality.
It's a fascinating insight. I guess it's a little bit into a goalkeeper's world. Sometimes if you're the number 2 and you're not in the team, and you train all week and you have to be ready for an injury, or suddenly the manager says, right, I'm going to change, and you're in and you haven't been in.
Yeah.
I don't know what being a number 2 is, though.
No, I was a bit, to be fair.
Well, towards the end of his career.
It was difficult, to be fair. Michael's hit the nail on the head. If you're training all week, you have a carrot dangle at the end of the week. You train, you work hard, you go in the gym, you do all this stuff that you have to do, prepare for the game on a Saturday. And the game on a Saturday is the fun part of the week. You're putting the hard hours leading up to the game, and then an hour and a half before the game, the manager turns around and says you're not playing. You just get deflated, don't you? I don't know if I could do it, if I'm being honest. That's why I was saying it's a good question to Michael. I don't think he could have done it either, because he was one of the main players and he was one to start every week. And that's
I think he gave a diplomatic, untruthful answer, but there we go.
What I did like about Jurgen saying there was about they're all part of a winning squad, a winning team. They're picking up trophies. So what he's saying is, my job's a lot easier because most weeks Liverpool are winning games. So it's difficult for the likes of the guys who come in tonight to go, hang on a minute, we lost at the weekend, we didn't play well. Liverpool have been so good this season, it's very difficult for these players to knock on his door to say, I should be starting.
They've been so good, they could be over 90 points again this season, 92. They've got 99 and not won the league. They've got 97 and not won the league. I mean, that could knock your mentality, but it doesn't. They just keep coming back, don't they?
Yeah, and they had a big blip, didn't they, last season? And people questioned, wow, is that it? You know, is this cycle finished? I mean, they lost so many games on the spin at home. You're thinking, what's happened to Liverpool? To bounce back like they have, and not just in the league, but in all the cup competitions as well. I mean, it could be the most memorable season of all time. You know, they might only win the 2 cup competitions, and people might see that as a disappointment. But when you have watched virtually every game, or every game in our case of Liverpool this season, you realise what an astounding team it is, what an astounding bunch of players, and the staff, the medical team, to keep everyone so fit for so long. You know, the whole thing, it's not easy when you got so many people in, you know, when you're managing that group of egos, that group of players that are all wanting the same thing, but only 11 of them can do it. It's not easy at all. And how don't get me wrong, there'll be troubles behind it. There will have been loads of little bumps in the road behind the scenes.
But you never hear or see
You
about
never
them.
hear them. And it's you know, it's covered up, or it's sorted out at source straight away. You never get any of these dramas at Liverpool. You know, and John Barnes said it earlier, it comes from the top, it really does. So, but that's the astounding thing. The harmony of the whole group, they're all pulling in the right direction. It's pretty staggering.
It is. OK, they've got several members in the top scoring list, of course, but tonight's match winner, an unlikely source, and here he is, Joel Matip.
Joel, you really needed to win that game, and it took a lot of character to come from 1-0 down to win it.
Of course, I think we started quite well, but then get a knock. But it showed the mentality and the quality of the team that you always come back, stay calm, and try to work for chances. And at the end, we deserved the win.
How much did you know about your header that was Liverpool's second goal?
I know that I touched it last, but was not really my target there. I just tried to get to the ball, and with a happy ending for us. It
was quite tense at the end of the game. Southampton had a real go. But you dug in and saw it out.
We just had to work out, and of course they want to come then again, but we try to stay calm and try to work. That's the only thing that matters in these kind of moments, and this is what we did.
Realistically, Joel, it's still really unlikely, I guess, that Liverpool are going to win the title because it needs Aston Villa to do you a huge favour, but it's still possible.
We try to concentrate on our game. It will be tough enough to win against Wolves, and then we try to make it uncomfortable for City as possible, but we know we can only win our games, and that's what we are concentrating.
Just finally, how difficult was this game, because you had the extra time, the FA Cup final, massive game, lots of emotion. At the end of the cup final, it looked like everybody was pretty exhausted. To play so quickly must have been quite hard, and obviously a lot of changes as well.
Yeah, we brought a lot of people in, fresh legs. That's what we needed, and they did it brilliantly without any rhythm. They came in and directly showed up and made amazing games. So this is what we needed.
Congratulations on your goal. Thanks, Joel.
He is the match winner. Southampton, of course, took the lead, 1-0 up in the first half. Here is their manager, Ralph Hasenhüttl.
Ralph, what's your assessment of the last home game of the season?
Yeah, I think we had a very interesting game today against a good side. Even if they make the changes, you can see the quality they have when you let them play. We tried it in a different way today, but the play in the first was quite good working. We had some good moments and scored a beautiful goal from Redis. Then gave them a lot of possession, tried to defend in and around our box quite proper. But in 1-2 moments, not good enough today, and this was the problem. I think the second goal is definitely not a really goal chance. We can clear this ball after the corner. It's a little bit frustrating when you see in what way then you concede a goal. Second half, they didn't have a lot of chances, 2 more, I think. So the defending stuff was quite okay. With the ball, we took a lot of risk in some moments, yeah, because against such a pressing team to play football is not easy. And when you don't try it, or when you try it, then it's a risk to concede a goal. But I think, especially then in the last 10-15 minutes, we tried more and had a few good moments where we can score a goal. But yeah, it didn't work.
So ultimately, it was an 8th defeat in 11 games for Southampton. They'd already hit that magical 40 points mark. Of course, they can only get 43 points, so they won't be able to catch any of the teams above them. Overall, bearing in mind they had to sell Danny Ings on the eve of the start of the season, how would you assess their season, Shay?
I think they started relatively well, Steve, and there was links of Ralph moving up to Manchester United. There was talk about that because he's linked with Ragnick and stuff like that. But I've listened to a phone-in recently, and there was a lot of Southampton fans, a lot of angry Southampton fans on the phone saying they weren't happy with him, which has really surprised me. I had to take a double take of what I was listening to, because they were saying, you just mentioned the stats in the last number of games, they've been very poor. And those new ownership came into the football club now. Will they back him now, or will they say, well, this is our club, we want to bring in our own manager?
Has he earned the right to be back there?
I think so. I think at the club and the budget that they have and stuff, I think, relatively mid-table for most of the season. Let's be honest, they've slipped down the last number of weeks, but I think he should definitely be given more time to keep pushing this club forward.
100%. What do you expect? You sell your best players every year. I mean, look at the players that Southampton have produced over the last 10 years. It's staggering. Some of the best players in the world. We go back further and look at Gareth Bales and all these players, but Van Dijk, so many great players, and we'll be here all day listening to them. So when you continue to sell all your best players all the time, and you still stay in the Premier League, then you're doing something right. I think Hasenhüttl is one of the best managers in the league. I really think he does a great job. I love the style of play, and when you keep having your hands tied, you don't invest much in the team, you keep selling any good players you've got, then it's not easy. So, I mean, if Southampton sell him, you'd be careful what you wish for, because he could potentially get a bigger and better job.
Yeah, they got 43 points with Danny Ings last year. They can only equal that now this season. But is that realistic? Is that
I think as Michael says, safely for a club of Southampton, unless the new owners come in and give them 100 million to spend on and bring new players in and not sell the best players and give them a chance to climb the table. We look what's happened at Newcastle. They got backed heavily in January, 100 million or 90 million, whatever it was, got the right players and they've climbed up the table. I don't see Southampton doing that. I'm not sure how much wealth the new owners have, but I do believe with this guy at the top, I think they have got the right manager with the budget they have.
Right, so that's Southampton. Now, Sunday, that was one of the few fixtures not to have anything on it, Southampton. We will all be here. We will all be talking about City, Villa and Liverpool Wolves. Is there any way that those ribbons change on Sunday?
Yes, definitely. Definitely a possibility. I mean, City at home last game, they need to win. Of course, you've got to fancy Man City to win, but is there any chance? Definitely. Villa are no mugs. They've got some good players. You've got the Steven Gerrard factor. Coutinho as well. Definitely. Villa are a decent team. Villa are a good team. And we saw this scenario quite a few years ago when Manchester City had to play QPR at home. QPR are nowhere near as good as Aston Villa, and they only just won in the last kick of the game in injury time.
You're going to be at the Etihad for us.
I'm excited. That was 10 years actually last week when Aguero scored that goal.
You're going to be there on Sunday?
I'm nervous a little bit. I feel people always say Man City always do it the hard way, and you mentioned the Aguero goal against QPR 10 years ago. That was done it the hard way. It looked like they were out dead on their feet, dead and buried, and he pops up with a bit of magic and gets the job done. Even last week, the week before Real Madrid, I thought that was job done. I thought they were in the final, not 2-E. So I'm excited for Sunday.
I will see you both on Sunday. What a final day we've got in prospect everywhere in the league, but particularly in the top. Pure drama, pure theatre, the Premier League. See you then.